He strode into that courtroom like Caesar entering the forum, designer shoes clicking against marble floors, confidence radiating from every pore. Derek Blackstone, tech mogul, self-made billionaire, man who'd built an empire from nothing, and beside him, wrapped in silk and smugness, his 25-year-old mistress Nina. They were here for what Derek assumed would be the final formality, discarding his pregnant wife Ivy like yesterday's stock options. He had lawyers, money, and what he believed was an airtight case. What he didn't expect was 7 words that would detonate his entire world like a nuclear bomb. Your Honor, we have Derek's own video. Before we dive into this absolutely explosive story of justice served ice cold, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, what you're about to witness is the most satisfying courtroom destruction you've ever seen. The Chambers County Family Courthouse, Division 4, was a monument to bureaucratic bleakness. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like dying insects, casting harsh shadows across beige walls that seemed designed to drain hope from anyone who entered. For Derek Blackstone, this was just another negotiation, another room where his wealth and influence would bend reality to his will. He occupied the defendant's table like a conquering general, his $8,000 Brioni suit immaculate, his silver hair perfectly styled. Every gesture spoke of power barely contained, the way he adjusted his Patek Philippe watch, the casual manner in which he leaned back in his chair. His attorney, Victoria Cross, was a shark in Chanel, one of the city's most ruthless divorce lawyers. But the most audacious display of Derek's arrogance wasn't his suit or his lawyer. It was Nina Valdez sitting directly behind him, a walking, talking affront to the sanctity of the proceedings. She scrolled through her phone with practiced indifference, occasionally throwing Derek adoring glances as if this legal affair was merely an inconvenient intermission in their glamorous romance. That woman across the aisle was Ivy Blackstone, and from a distance, one might mistake her stillness for weakness. She sat with perfect posture, hands folded protectively over the gentle curve of her 7-month pregnancy. Her simple black dress was elegant but understated. The only signs of the hell she'd endured were the faint shadows under her eyes. But beneath that composed exterior was steel, tempered by betrayal and sharpened by righteous fury. She wasn't a victim awaiting execution. She was a warrior, choosing her moment to strike. Beside her sat Cameron Reed, not the most expensive lawyer in the city, but arguably the most dangerous. All rise, the bailiff's voice cut through the tension. The Honorable Judge Margaret Chen presiding. Judge Chen entered with the gravity of someone who'd seen every variety of human folly over her 20-year career. She settled into her chair with practiced efficiency, her gaze sweeping the room. "We're here today for Blackstone versus Blackstone," she announced. "Miss Cross, you may begin." Victoria Cross rose with predatory grace. "Thank you, Your Honor. My client has been extraordinarily generous in his settlement offer, $10 million, a luxury condominium worth $3 million, and a Tesla Model S. Mrs. Blackstone has rejected this generous offer, making demands that are frankly delusional." Cross turned toward Ivy with calculated pity. "Furthermore, Mrs. Blackstone has introduced what I can only describe as a complication, a pregnancy that conveniently occurred after my client had already filed for separation. My client questions the paternity of this child and sees this as a desperate attempt to extract more money." The words hit like physical blows. Ivy's composure cracked for just a moment, a slight tremor running through her body, her hand instinctively moving to protect her belly. Cameron Reed stood slowly, her movements deliberate and controlled. "Your Honor, Ms. Cross's characterization is not only offensive, but factually incorrect on virtually every level. Our position is that Ms. Cross's offer isn't generous. It's insulting. It represents less than 2% of Mr. Blackstone's verifiable net worth, wealth accumulated during their 8-year marriage through joint effort." Reed moved away from her table. "My client wasn't merely a trophy wife. She was Mr. Blackstone's partner, the one who managed their homes, entertained his clients, provided the stable foundation that allowed him to focus entirely on building his empire. When Quantum Industries was operating out of their garage, she was answering phones, managing schedules, keeping their lives together while he coded 18-hour days. Derek let out a derisive snort, shaking his head. Nina mirrored his expression with a perfectly practiced eye roll. Judge Chen's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Mr. Blackstone, you will remain silent unless addressed directly. To understand the true scope of Derek's betrayal, you have to rewind 8 years to when he was just another programmer with big dreams and empty pockets. He met Ivy Chen, a brilliant software engineer, at a hackathon. Their courtship was a whirlwind of late-night coding sessions and shared dreams of changing the world. When they married, Ivy made the biggest sacrifice of her career, leaving her 6-figure job at Oracle to support Derek's fledgling company full-time. Quantum Industries' early success wasn't just Derek's achievement, it was theirs. Ivy's contributions were visible everywhere, from the elegant user interface she designed to the key partnerships she negotiated. But success was intoxicating. As Quantum went public and Derek's net worth soared, something fundamental shifted. The humble programmer who had once looked at Ivy with grateful adoration gradually transformed into a man who seemed to forget she'd ever been anything more than decorative. Then came Nina Valdez, a lifestyle influencer Derek's company hired for a product launch. She was calculating and ambitious, recognizing Derek as a gateway to the luxury lifestyle she craved. Her seduction was methodical, making him feel like a king, while Ivy, exhausted by years of supporting his dreams only to be increasingly sidelined, made him feel accountable. The final confirmation came on their 7th wedding anniversary. Derek claimed to be in Tokyo, but a friend sent Ivy a link to Nina's Instagram story, a video of her in the penthouse suite of the Ritz-Carlton, just 10 miles from their home. In the window's reflection was Derek's unmistakable silhouette. When Ivy confronted him, Derek was cold, clinical. "We've grown in different directions. This marriage isn't working anymore." But Ivy wasn't the same woman who had sacrificed her career 8 years earlier. She began researching Quantum Industries' structure and made a chilling discovery. The quantum encryption algorithms that had made Derek famous were being claimed solely as his intellectual property, despite her substantial contributions during their marriage. He hadn't just stolen her heart and trust. He had systematically erased her contributions to their shared success while she wasn't looking. That's when she hired Cameron Reed. 3 months after Derek moved out, he reached out with promises of reconciliation. "I miss you. Nina means nothing. We can work this out." Against her better judgment, worn down by loneliness and faint hope, Ivy agreed to meet him for dinner. Derek was charming, contrite, seemingly vulnerable. For one evening, Ivy saw glimpses of the man she'd married. That night, overwhelmed by memory and desperate hope, she allowed herself to believe his lies one final time. It was the night their child was conceived. When Ivy told him she was pregnant weeks later, his response was brutal. "Are you sure it's mine?" This is exactly the kind of trap I should have expected. Back in the courtroom, Cameron Reed stood with the calm confidence of someone holding a royal flush. Cross had finished her lengthy monologue about Ivy's unreasonable demands. "Your Honor," Reed began, "we're not asking for destruction of Quantum Industries. We're asking for recognition of my client's contributions and fair division of assets built through joint effort." She picked up documentation. "For the first 3 years of Quantum's existence, my client worked full-time building this company. She designed the user interface that became industry standard. She negotiated partnerships with Microsoft and Google that transformed Quantum from a startup into a powerhouse." Reed held up internal emails crediting Ivy's contributions. What's interesting is that these attributions disappear around 2019, coincidentally, when Mr. Blackstone began his affair with Ms. Valdez. Suddenly, Ivy's contributions became invisible, retroactively attributed to Derek himself. Furthermore, the quantum encryption algorithms that made Quantum famous were developed jointly during their marriage. We have emails, code repositories, and testimony confirming Ivy's substantial contributions to intellectual property, now valued at approximately $2.3 billion. Derek made a strangled sound, his knuckles white where he gripped the table. Cross shot to her feet. "This is outrageous conjecture." "Is it?" Reed interrupted. "The original code repository shows commits from Ivy's personal account dating back to the algorithm's inception. Code mysteriously reattributed to Derek's account in 2020 when divorce proceedings began." Judge Chen leaned forward with sharp focus. "These are extremely serious allegations, Ms. Reed." "Indeed, Your Honor. But I'd like to address Mr. Blackstone's other significant lie first." Reed placed evidence on the clerk's desk. "We have 127 text messages from Mr. Blackstone begging for reconciliation. Credit card records showing he paid for their dinner. Hotel records showing he booked a suite at the Fairmont. Security footage from the restaurant showing them dining together." Derek's face went pale. Cross looked like she'd been struck by lightning. "Most importantly," Reed continued, "we have the receipt from the Fairmont gift shop, charged to his room the next morning. Emergency contraceptives, Your Honor. Purchased after his civil dinner, where nothing happened." Judge Chen's voice was dangerously quiet. "Mr. Blackstone, you've committed perjury in my courtroom. But before we address criminal matters, let's return to the intellectual property issue." Reed connected her phone to the courtroom's display system. "Fortunately for justice, Mr. Blackstone has provided us with a full confession, in his own words." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Derek's face went ashen. He knew exactly what video Reed was about to play. "Your Honor," Reed said, "we have Derek Blackstone's own video." The monitor flickered to life, showing the deck of a luxury yacht at sunset. Nina appeared on screen, clearly intoxicated, giggling as she held the phone. "Hey everyone, living my absolute best life with my amazing man. Derek, baby, tell my followers how you became such a king." The camera revealed Derek lounging on white leather furniture, crystal tumbler in hand, visibly drunk. His usually perfect appearance was disheveled, his eyes glassy and unfocused, but his expression was pure, undiluted arrogance. "King, baby, kings are born into power. I took mine. I built it from nothing, and I destroyed anyone who got in my way." He took a long swallow. "You want to know the secret to real success? It's being smarter than everyone else and taking what you need to win." Nina's giggle came from off camera. "Tell them about the code thing." Derek's grin turned predatory. "My revolutionary quantum encryption? I didn't invent jack shit." The courtroom was dead silent. "My brilliant wife, ex-wife," he corrected with a nasty laugh. "She's the one who figured out the quantum protocols, spent months debugging my garbage code. But here's the beautiful part. She put everything in shared repositories under both our names." Derek raised his glass in mock toast. "When I took the company public, I just edited the history, moved all her commits to my account, changed the authorship metadata. Suddenly, Ivy Chen's genius became Derek Blackstone's vision." He drained his glass. "The woman who made me a billionaire wants half my assets. The irony is perfect. She wants half of what was already entirely hers." Nina's voice, smaller now. "What about the baby?" Derek's face darkened instantly. "The baby? You mean the trap? The last desperate move of a woman who knows she's about to lose everything?" He pointed at the camera. "I gave her one night. Told her exactly what she wanted to hear about fixing our marriage. She fell for every word because she's pathetic and desperate." His laugh was calculating. "The morning after, I ghosted her completely. When she called crying about being pregnant, I knew exactly what she was trying to do." Derek leaned back triumphantly. "Let her have the baby. I'll deny paternity until I die. I'll drag out DNA tests for years. By the time any court forces me to acknowledge that kid, I'll have moved half my assets offshore." He gestured expansively. "That child will grow up knowing their father wants nothing to do with them. And Ivy, she'll spend whatever pittance I give her on lawyers while I'm on my yacht with you, baby." The video ended abruptly, plunging the courtroom into absolute silence. Derek sat frozen, his face the color of concrete. Behind him, Nina was hyperventilating, her perfect makeup running in black streams. Victoria Cross looked like she'd been struck by lightning. Judge Chen sat like an avenging angel, her expression having progressed from professional interest to barely contained rage. "Mr. Blackstone," she began, each word dropping like a stone, "in my 2 decades as a judge, I have never witnessed such a comprehensive and gleeful confession to fraud, perjury, intellectual property theft, and emotional cruelty." Derek tried to speak. "Your Honor, I was drunk." It doesn't mean anything?" Her voice rose slightly. "You just confessed to stealing your wife's intellectual property, lying about paternity, and deliberately manipulating a vulnerable woman. You described your unborn child as a trap and outlined detailed plans to deny parental responsibilities through fraud." Victoria Cross found her voice desperately. "Your Honor, drunken boasting cannot be considered reliable. Ms. Cross, your client wasn't just drunk. He was detailed, specific, and internally consistent. He provided dates, methods, and motivations with the precision of someone who has thought extensively about these actions." Cameron Reed stepped forward. "Your Honor, given Mr. Blackstone's admission that Quantum's foundational intellectual property was stolen from my client during marriage, we're looking at fraudulent transfer of marital assets on a massive scale." She faced Derek directly. "When Mr. Blackstone transferred Ivy's intellectual property to his sole ownership, he committed fraud against the marital estate. Every dollar generated by those algorithms, $3.7 billion, represents stolen marital assets. I'm requesting immediate freeze of all Mr. Blackstone's assets pending complete forensic audit. Also requesting emergency injunction preventing him from transferring assets or leaving jurisdiction." "Granted," Judge Chen said without hesitation. "All assets frozen effective immediately. Mr. Blackstone, surrender your passport within the hour. I'm also referring this matter to the district attorney for criminal investigation." Derek finally found his voice. "You can't do this. You'll destroy thousands of jobs. Mr. Blackstone, you destroyed those jobs when you built your company on stolen intellectual property. You destroyed your marriage through betrayal. You destroyed your relationship with your child by denying their existence." She turned to Ivy, her expression softening. "Mrs. Blackstone, I'm granting you exclusive use of the marital home. I'm ordering immediate temporary support of $500,000 per month. You will have full custody pending paternity results." Judge Chen picked up her gavel. "You came into my courtroom believing wealth made you untouchable. You brought your mistress to watch your pregnant wife's humiliation because you thought cruelty was just another tool. But the law doesn't recognize your wealth, Mr. Blackstone. Justice doesn't care about your net worth." The gavel fell with thunderous finality. "Court is adjourned. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Blackstone to holding pending his meeting with prosecutors." As bailiffs approached, Derek called out desperately, "Ivy, please. We can work this out. I'll give you anything you want." Ivy looked at him across the courtroom, this man who had stolen her father's legacy, betrayed their marriage, denied their child. "We didn't build anything together, Derek," she said quietly. "I built it. You just stole it. And now you're going to face the consequences." As Derek was led away, his perfect composure finally shattered, Nina made a run for the exit. But Reed's voice stopped her. "Ms. Valdez, you might want to contact a criminal attorney. That video you recorded? You're potentially an accessory to intellectual property fraud." 3 months later, Derek's fraud was fully exposed. The forensic audit revealed he'd systematically appropriated code contributions from dozens of employees over the years. Quantum's stock collapsed. The company was sold, with proceeds going to settlement funds for all employees whose work had been misattributed. Derek pleaded guilty to multiple felonies to avoid trial. He was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison and ordered to pay restitution that would leave him penniless upon release. Nina testified against Derek in exchange for reduced sentence, revealing additional evidence of his fraudulent practices. 6 months after the trial, Ivy gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She named him David Chen Blackstone, David for beloved, Chen to honor her heritage, and Blackstone as a reminder that even the strongest foundations crumble when built on lies. Using settlement funds, Ivy established the Chen Institute for Ethical Technology, dedicated to ensuring innovations in quantum computing would benefit humanity. The Institute's first project was releasing Derek's stolen algorithms as open-source software, free worldwide, exactly what her father would have wanted. Derek had believed wealth and power made him untouchable. He underestimated the determination of a woman fighting for her child's future. His greatest asset, his arrogance, became the weapon that destroyed him. The video Nina recorded, meant to document their glamorous lifestyle, instead became Derek's confession and the key to Ivy's vindication. In trying to impress a social media influencer, Derek had created permanent evidence of his own moral bankruptcy. Derek's downfall was complete, public, and entirely self-inflicted. He had sown the wind and reaped the whirlwind, leaving behind nothing but cautionary tales and the son he was too cruel to acknowledge. The man who had stolen everything lost everything, while the woman he had tried to destroy built something beautiful from the ashes of his empire. Their son would grow up knowing that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear simple black dresses and fight their battles in courtrooms, armed with nothing but truth and courage to speak it. What did you think of Derek's spectacular downfall? Could you believe the audacity of bringing his mistress to court, only to have his own video confession destroy him? Justice was served in the most dramatic way possible, but what struck you most about Ivy's incredible fight for her family's legacy? If this story of betrayal, justice, and ultimate vindication kept you on the edge of your seat, smash that like button and share it with everyone who needs to see that karma is real. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more incredible real-life stories of justice prevailing against all odds. What would you have done in Ivy's situation? Let us know in the comments below.